How's it going? Welcome back to the show. This is Yume Roscoe, and I am Roscoe. And today we're going to be taking a look at a video that is called 10 Things You Didn't Know About the Eastern Brown Snake. And we'll be taking a look at this video. But before we get into it, I do want to ask for anybody who hasn't, they please subscribe to the channel and also make sure you hit the notification bell and also make sure that you go over to what is it, Wicked Wildlife's homepage. So that's what this guy, you can see it on his little patch on his sleeve there. Wicked Wildlife. I don't know if that's a patch or is that in the screen, but it looks like it's in the show. But yeah, go over to Wicked Wildlife, do the same thing because we do want to support, the pages, but the pages that we're getting the content from, or and reacting to. So I should say that. But I do have a shout out to my man Shieldsy, who suggested that I check this out. And the last time that we checked out one of these, I think it was the tiger snake that we that I reacted to the last time, and I know that thing was like super huge and venomous. It was stomping through the Australian metropolis, just cracking buildings and stuff, like Godzilla. But no, this time we'll be checking out my namesake, as Shieldsy pointed out, the Eastern brown snake. So this is family right here. So we're gonna see how fam is doing out here in these Australian streets. So I'm gonna put this in and then we can go ahead and get this started. Let's do it.
G'day, g'day. It's Nick here, and this bloke is Rover, one of our eastern brown snakes that we keep here for educational display. And this has to be one of the most famous snakes in all of Australia. Everybody hopefully knows what an eastern brown snake is. But in this video, I'm going to try and share with you 10 facts that I think you guys didn't know about one of the most famous snakes probably on the planet. Stick around.
All right, I don't know any facts. You talk about these 10, I don't know any. So I need to know everything. I need to know it all about things. So let's get it.
So fact number one is that the eastern brown snake, as well known as he is just one small part of a much bigger family of snakes. You see, all up we have 9 species of brown snakes here in Australia. The eastern brown probably being the most well known, but the other well known ones are things like the dugite and maybe the western brown. But on top of that, you've got things like the northern brown, the Ingram's brown, the speckled brown, the peninsular brown, the ring brown snake, and the strap-snouted brown snake. So 9 species all up. So yeah, the eastern brown might be the most famous one, but he is just one small part of a much bigger family. Okay. Fact number 2 is that while we call this guy the eastern brown snake, is not exactly confined to the eastern coast of Australia. It is true they're found over the entirety of the east coast, pretty much all of Victoria, pretty much all of New South Wales, all of Queensland, with the exception of sort of dense rainforests. But they're also found over South Australia, parts of the Northern Territory, both in the central region and in northern region of Northern Territory. But they even push into Western Australia, found in the sort of far eastern stretches of the Kimberley. So they're found in every mainland state of Australia. The only place you don't find these guys is Tasmania. So eastern brown by name, but national brown snake by distribution. Fact number 3 is that the massive distribution of these guys doesn't just include pretty much all of mainland Australia, but there is actually several small populations of eastern brown snake on the southern parts of the island of New Guinea. Now, there's some debate whether they should be considered their own subspecies. There's not a lot of evidence to support it, but basically they're eastern browns in one form or another. Now, this means these guys are actually the only member of the brown snake family to be outside Australia's territory. So yeah, brown snakes, despite being an Australian icon, are also found up in New Guinea. Fact number 4 is that the eastern brown snake is the largest of the 9 species of brown snakes that we get here in Australia. Now, there is a few other members of the brown snake family that can reach lengths of around the 2-metre mark, the dugites, the western browns, things like this, but the eastern brown reaches this 2 meters mark more regularly than the others. There's a few reliable reports every year of 2-metre brown snakes and plenty of non-reliable reports. That being said, the record for an eastern brown is up over 2.4 meters in length. Now that's starting to get to the sort of size that we would expect to see from things like mulgars and coastal taipans. So yeah, these guys don't just have a massive distribution, they also grow to be potentially massive venomous snakes. 2.4 meters long, the biggest brown snakes in the country. Number 5 is that these guys don't just grow to be the biggest of the brown snake family, they're also the most venomous. Now, this is saying a bit because all the brown snakes, or the vast majority of them, are very, very highly venomous snakes. The vast majority are amongst the most venomous snakes on the planet. But this guy, he takes the cake. These guys actually have an LD50 rating, which is how we measure toxicity, of 0.053 milligrams of venom per kilogram of body weight to basically be a lethal dose. Now, we can cover how this LD50 works in another video. If you like, leave it down in the comments. But if we put this in perspective to say something like the black mamba, this guy works out to be somewhere between 5 and 6 times more potent in terms of his toxicity, his venom, than the black mamba does. So by far the most venomous of all the brown snakes. Now, this is...
Let me stop this. Let me stop this. I'll push it back like a couple of seconds to do that. But damn, this snake is more venomous than the black mamba. You know, so it's more dangerous than Kobe was. Like, man, like this snake right here out mambas the mamba mentality. And that's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, no, that's hella venomous. That's hella deadly. And he's you know, very loose with how he's handling, or maybe, you know, I don't know. You know, it seems like to me he's being very loose with this, but also, like, at times, you know, I see him with the little hook stick, whatever that is that he uses to handle the snake, and he wasn't doing that with the tiger snake. You know, the last time, like, he was just all kind of willy nilly, just kind of laying in front of him like this, like he wasn't gonna get attacked or something like that, and he knew it, or maybe he's wearing snake repellent or something. I don't know. That couldn't be me, you know. But man, you know. But yeah, no, the Browns most venomous. You know, I'm proud of that. You know. So let's continue.
In terms of his toxicity, his venom, than the black mamba does. So by far the most venomous of all the brown snakes. Now, this is little wonder, because he's not just more venomous than most of the brown snakes, he's more venomous than pretty much any snake on earth. In fact, the eastern brown snake comes in second place when it comes to the world's most venomous snakes, behind only the inland taipan. So there you go. This guy's not only the most venomous of the brown snakes, he's the second most venomous snake on the planet today. Number 6 is that despite being the most venomous of all the brown snakes, second most venomous snake on earth, the venom of the eastern brown snake, the composition of it, actually changes with age. Now, there's a common myth that snakes are more venomous when they're babies as when they're adults and things like this, but in these guys, it's not really the case. What we've basically found is that in adult eastern brown snakes, their venom is basically a mix of cocktails that some of them affect your nervous system, so they shut your muscles down, which in turn shuts, you know, your heart down, your breathing down. But they've also got chemicals, components, that affects your ability to clot, to stop bleeding. So it causes things like stroke and internal bleeding, things like this. Now, what we've, you know, fairly recently, in the last several years, discovered is that juvenile brown snakes basically seem to lack the clotting component. Their venom works almost entirely on the nervous system. Now, the theory currently behind this is that this particular kind of venom works very well on things like skinks. A lot of animals that feed on this sort of prey use this kind of venom. And as they grow older, they start to include more mammals and things in their diet. The clotting agents or anti-clotting agents start to come into effect. So whether it's because of diet is yet to be proven, but the current theory is these guys, their venom changes as they go through the sizes and start eating different sorts of prey. So yeah, eastern brown snakes, their venom changes with age. Number 7.
Now, he's saying all this, and the way he's handling the snake, I'm scared for him. I'm like, dude, you just said this is the second deadliest snake out there. You know, the second deadliest venom, you know, or second most venomous, you know, and yet you just lackadaisical with this thing. I don't know. Let's keep it going.
Now, while these guys do have an incredibly potent venom, they don't have much of it. Basically, these guys have a very small venom yield. Now, the average venom yield for a brown snake does change geographically from different parts of the country. In Queensland, the average venom yield is somewhere around 11 milligrams, compared to in South Australia, where the average venom yield is closer to 3 milligrams. The highest yield that I can find any evidence of was a milking done by a famous herpetologist, Eric Worrell, of a 2.1 meter brown snake that got 41 milligrams of venom. So, you know, far higher than average, but yeah, on average, 3 to 11 milligrams of venom. Now, for the sake of comparison, if we compare this to another famous Australian snake of roughly equivalent size, like the tiger snake, you'll see just how much smaller this venom yield is. So the tiger snake's average venom yield is somewhere around 35 milligrams of venom per bite, with the record being up around 180 milligrams. So, you know, well more than double the record of an Eastern Brown and triple when it comes to average venom yield. So yes, very potent venom, but these guys have a very small venom yield. Fact number 8 is that the Eastern Brown Snake doesn't just have a small venom yield, they've also got fairly small fangs. You see, the fangs of the average Eastern Brown Snake are somewhere about 2.8 millimeters in length, with large Eastern Brown Snakes having fangs up to sort of 3 millimeters, 3.5 millimeters in length. Now, if we compare this to, again, the tiger snake, their fangs average 3.5 to 5 millimeters in length. So, you know, potentially just shy of double in size. And on the extreme end of Australian snakes, the coastal taipan has fangs a whopping 13 millimeters in length. So, you know, in the scheme of Australian snakes, these guys have fairly short fangs. Now, in some ways, this makes a lot of sense. You see, people get hyped up when it comes to venom, that venom is designed to kill people, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Venom is designed to kill their prey, and this guy is equipped with such toxic venom, he doesn't need big fangs. He doesn't have to make sure every drop gets in there. He's just got to break the skin, and whatever it is that is bitten is going to die. So our snakes have never had a push to evolve the big fangs that some snakes overseas do. So very small fangs on the Eastern Brown Snake. Now, what does this have to...
I get that. I'm gonna push it back just a tiny little bit just for the sake of, you know. But yeah, no, it does make sense. You know, if you have these little fangs, you know, you got all this. Well, not all of this, but you know, you have a pretty venomous bite. You know, so yeah, you know, like he said, anything that's gonna get bitten is gonna die, including him if he don't watch himself. Like, oh my God, they must have already like took the teeth out of this thing or something. I don't know. Like why is he just so comfortable is beyond me. But let's continue.
You know, in the scheme of Australian snakes, these guys have fairly short fangs. Now, in some ways, this makes a lot of sense. You see, people get hyped up when it comes to venom, that venom is designed to kill people, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Venom is designed to kill their prey, and this guy is equipped with such toxic venom, he doesn't need big fangs. He doesn't have to make sure every drop gets in there. He's just got to break the skin, and whatever it is that is bitten is going to die. So our snakes have never had a push to evolve the big fangs that some snakes overseas do. So very small fangs on the Eastern Brown Snake. Now, what does this have to do with people? How does this translate to safety and danger? Fortunately, it means that having such short fangs, preventing a bite from an Eastern Brown Snake can be a little bit more simple than preventing bites from snakes elsewhere. You see, at 2.5 millimeters in length or 2.8 millimeters in length, you're significantly upping the chances that something like a good pair of jeans is going to stop a bite compared to snakes overseas. If you're bitten by any of the vipers overseas, they're going to go straight through a pair of jeans. But thanks to this guy having short fangs, 2.8 millimeters on average, pair of jeans is generally adequate snake bite protection. So yeah, fact number 8, these guys have fairly small fangs. Fact number 9 is that despite the name Eastern Brown Snake, these guys actually come in a wide variety of colors and patterns. Now, while the vast majority of these guys are some kind of shade of brown, these guys range everywhere from jet black to fluorescent orange in color, with everything in between, grays and reds, browns, tans, all sorts of colors. But yeah, black to fluorescent orange, so lots of different colors. They also come...
But why just brown? You know, like why did the brown snake get profile if there's all these different color snakes around. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, let's go.
Come in different patterns. Now, the vast majority are plain in colour, but when they're born, a lot of eastern brown snakes actually have a little bit of pattern. Often they've got sort of a bit of a black helmet on top of their head and a little black band behind that. But some of their babies are born really strongly banded the entire way down their body. And occasionally, adults actually keep this colour, these banding, these stripes, all the way through into adult life. So you can end up with eastern brown snakes who are striped from the tip of their head to the tip of their tail. So yeah, despite the name eastern brown snake, you can't really identify these guys based on color or pattern, because eastern browns don't just come in brown, they come in all kinds of colors and patterns. And lastly, number 10, and that is that despite the short fangs, despite the small venom yield, the brown snakes as a family, with the eastern brown leading the charge, are responsible for more snake bites and more snake bite deaths than any other snake in Australia. Now, according to the Australian Snakebite Project, which was a study that basically tracked snake bites for the period of about 10 years, the eastern brown, or the brown snake family, accounted for 41% of Australian snake bites during the time their project was running. Now, 41% of bites, they also accounted, out of the 23 deaths in that time, for 75% of Australian snake bite deaths. So yeah, just under half of all of our bites, but pretty much 3/4 of all of our human deaths. So yeah, the eastern brown snake leading cause of snake bite death in Australia. Now, this isn't because, like a lot of people imagine, he's a mean snake or an aggressive snake. While these guys can be temperamental, they're one of the most misunderstood of all Australian snakes. They basically evolved in open habitats where fleeing is often not an option. Standing and fighting is the only way to survive. So he's not a jerk, he's just bred for the environment he lives in. The reason they bite so many people is because they have a massive distribution. They live in places like Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Townsville, Adelaide, most of our capital cities. So in terms of human interaction, these guys come way ahead simply because they live where people live. And that's what makes them dangerous. The things that are the most dangerous to us aren't the things that can do the worst things to us. They're the things that are the most likely to come in contact and do something to us. So yeah, the eastern brown snake, the leading cause of snake bite and snake bite death in Australia. So there you have it, guys. That's 10 facts that I think you didn't know about one of the most famous snakes in all of Australia. Let me know in the comments below which ones you knew, which facts were new to you, and what other animals you'd like to see covered. But other than that, thank you as always for watching, guys. Make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook. Check on back next week. There's lots more wildlife content coming. And as always, be nice to wildlife, especially snakes. Have a good one and take care.
All right, cool beans, cool beans. Let me fix the image. Mark on that thing that it does all this thing. There we go. All right, so let's push it back. Actually, push it to where he is right there with the eastern brown. 10 things you didn't know about the eastern brown snake, and that was very educational. You know, right at the end there, or near the end, he was naming off pretty much all of the spots that I know I won't be visiting. Like Melbourne and Melbourne and the Sydney and all these. He said all the capital cities and all the places where people are at. It's just like, man, I guess I'm gonna live in the wild if I ever have to move to Australia, you know, to try to avoid these guys. But yeah, no, that was some good stuff. You know, him you know, first laying out, you know, the places where you know, they're at, where kind of where they're located, which is basically like all over East Australia and past that. You know, like they are way beyond just on the east of Australia, but just all over the place. But yeah, no, just good stuff. You know, the stuff about the teeth and the genes, that helpful stuff. You know, for those people who didn't know beforehand, like get thicker genes if you just out in the capital cities. Like you just never know. You just never know, you know. So big jeans, maybe a jean jacket, you know, and a jean helmet, just in case they may just kind of drop out of the sky or something. You know, maybe there was a snake on the plane or something. I don't but but yeah, no, great info. These are great videos for me and for everybody, you know. But I like these just because I like to learn stuff about animals, and I think most people are like that, are very intrigued by, wildlife and what it is that they do and where they come from, where they're located, the things that they eat and hunt and all that stuff, So, you want to make sure that's, just in case some of these things start hunting people. It's like, oh yeah, the eastern brown snake, he likes humans. Yeah, yeah. So stay out of the capital cities. you know. But yeah, no, great info, great video. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. It's not necessary, for these type of videos, but still, but I'm gonna leave. But before I do, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the share button, hit the playlist option. You'll pick the one named Entertainment Reactions. And I'll put that in this playlist because, it was educational, but, entertaining as well, to see him, try to avoid getting bitten was very entertaining for me, so and scary, because I don't want him to get bit, but it was still thrilling. The stakes were raised, in this video. So entertainment reactions is where you'll see this and everything else. All the other videos like this that I react, well, there's only one like this, but I got some other stuff in the entertainment reactions playlist that you can check out. So do that. I do have playlists for other artists or a lot of other things rather. A lot of that stuff is going to be music related, but I do some other things like this, so check out all of the playlists when you get the chance. I do have the Cash App down there. You made Ross $, you made Roscoe. PayPal at you made Roscoe. There's also a super thank option that's available as well. So for anybody who wants to do you can go to any one of those spots and do that whole thing. But that's it. That's it. I'm done. I will see you again soon. So until next we meet, be safe and be good.